This video I'll talk about psychiatrists and how they don't know what they're talking about. I've had many conversations with psychiatrists. I've talked to at least 15, 20 psychiatrists. And I've gotten their opinion on not just me, but medicine and mental disorders and the New World Order, etc. Almost all of them failed to see that there are secret societies manipulating things, or they failed to admit it. All of them, every single last one, failed to know even the slightest history about the pharmaceutical company that was prescribing the pills they prescribed the most. So the pills they even prescribe the most, not just the pills, it's the pills they prescribe the most. They don't know the history about the pharmaceutical company. Like Pfizer, like Abbott. They don't know these histories. I do. So, what gives them a right to judge you is three things: legitimate power, expert power, as well as knowledge power. Okay? There's actually two more, but I'm not going to get into, what those are. Those are irrelevant. Coercion and being somebody people respect. Now, they are not the expert. Let me tell you why. If you do not even know the company that you are prescribing the pill, you're not an expert. If you do not know the patient for at least 30 fucking years, you're not an expert. If you misdiagnose people all the time, you are not an expert. 1 in 10 doctors admit they lie in the news, you are not an expert. Unless you know God, man, sociology, psychiatry, psychology, anthropology, paleontology, what diseases the black man are susceptible to more. Unless you understand all the cultures in the world, which none of them do. Remember, I am one of the top historians in the world, and I don't understand all the cultures in the world. So you see some shrink who doesn't even understand the culture of the pharmaceutical company who's giving her the pill she's prescribing is going to understand all the cultures of the world? No. How about somebody who's from another country, comes here, has no idea about how we do things, her idea of how people should be come from her small village in fucking India, in Pakistan, etc. So they do not understand mainstream American culture. They do not understand the nuances between being African American, Asian American, etc., etc. They do not understand society, what's going on in your household, and what's going on in your brain, your cognitive process. They do not understand anything. So they are forced to pretend they have legitimate power, which is illegitimate since a bunch of illegitimate caucasoids are the ones who gave them that power. They are not really the expert. You are actually the expert on yourself. And they don't have the knowledge power because they don't even know the history of the company whose pills they're prescribing to you, which is causing you to kill yourself, which is not helping you, which is being prescribed for a mental disorder you do not have, since mood disorders do not exist. So I have just proven to you beyond any doubt that none of them are the expert. Okay, let me give you an example of what I assume was a Pakistani lady who was a psychiatrist. She did not know that the triangle was a symbol of the white-powered elite. She did not know the history of Abbott Company. She did not know the real problems. And I'm going to give you one more thing she did not know. Okay? The place that I live, my parents have labeled everybody they've ever come across, who's ever stayed at their house, whose emotional outbursts ever gotten their way even a little bit, they've labeled them as a mental disorder. From from a boy they brought here, his sister, his mother, my cousins, both of them, their mother, me, both of my brothers, this guy named Lynn who came here, this guy named D who came here and stayed for a while. Another subject who not too long ago did the same thing as me. Started hitting the wall, yelling, hitting the table, yelling and screaming. My older brother who punched a hole in the wall. Now, ask yourselves, after emotional outbursts by everybody who comes here, after a bunch of out-of-touch assholes who don't know their own son saying everybody has a mental disorder, the type of people that picked up the wrong person and thought it was me. How many of you have picked up the wrong person and thought it was your son? I'd be surprised if even one of you have. Because they're so out of touch, they don't know their own son, and they think everybody they come across has a mental disorder. So what is the common variable that all these people I just mentioned have? They came to the same environments, and they were dealing with the same out-of-touch bootlickers. I rest my case.